Hey there guys, and welcome to No Recipe Required. My name's Dave and we're going to do our first meal kit review for Home Chef. I ordered some Baja Fish Tacos and we're going to see how they do. This is I've got some tilapia fillets that they sent over. We're going to bread that, we're going to fry it off, get a nice like tempura batter over there. They sent a little bit of coleslaw, some limes, some cilantro, or not cilantro. They did send some cilantro. Right here, some cilantro for garnish, some shallot we're gonna pickle. The lime juice gives it nice acid. And we got some sriracha and mayonnaise to kind of kick up the flavor on this coleslaw. So far, everything looks good. It all looks, it came packaged nice individually. So you just kind of pull this box out and then, or this bag out of the box and you're ready to go. But the most important thing is going to be how easy is it to cook and how does it taste. So let's go ahead and get started on our prep. We'll take you all the way through cooking and of course give it a taste at the end. Alright, so I've got our ingredients unpacked here. Home Chef recommends reading through the ingredient card. So this is that's an upside down picture. That's the picture of what we're aiming for when we finish, and we've got detailed instructions here. I read through them. I suggest you guys read through them. Hey, my one nit on Home Chef here is this bottle of oil. The cap wasn't screwed quite tight enough, so there's a little bit of oil coating a bunch of this stuff, but not a huge deal. First thing we're going to do is take our cutting board, and we're just going to prep our ingredients, which is really about halving and juicing some limes. Squeeze, do that. Actually, before I did that, I should roll it. This is a good way to get things loosened up. You'll get more juice out of the lime. We're going to go ahead and have this one again. We're going to juice 3 of these limes and reserve 1 of them. I'm not going to do it all on camera because frankly that gets a little bit boring. We're going to go ahead and slice our shallot, take the ends off, cut it in half, and then we're going to peel this guy down, and then we're going to slice it into thin strips. You got to get rid of this outside layer, and then just go through and make little half moons like that. We're going to unpack our coleslaw. It's already kind of mixed together, and then lastly we've got cilantro here. Cilantro actually looks quite nice, and we're just going to pick these off the stems. Easiest thing to do, start near the top and just bring your fingers down. That'll get the leaves off. Then discard the bigger stems. Little tiny stems, not a big deal, but you don't want to eat that guy, unshockingly. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to finish our prep work here. Everything seems well written and described, and then we're going to come back as we start making our tempura batter and pickling our shallots. Okay, so the one step I wanted to show you guys on the prep side, and frankly, give an honest opinion about, is whether the fish was any good. This is tilapia, and it suggests taking it out of the package and actually patting it dry. There's going to be a little bit of moisture in kind of all proteins that are packaged up like this, and that is fine. And we haven't tasted it yet, obviously, but so far, I like the feel of it. It's nice and firm, and it definitely doesn't, it doesn't smell fishy, which is hallmark of a old piece of fish. This one is actually pretty good, both in feel and, like I said, on smell there. And it asks to, or the directions tell you to cut it into like 2-inch pieces, which I am doing here. I'm also using, you notice, a different cutting board. I like using a plastic cutting board for proteins because it's easier to just take these and throw them in the dishwasher. I'm going to give my hand just a quick little rinse on dry, and then we're going to season per the directions with salt and pepper on both sides of the fish. We're going to do one side, I'll flip it over. I like to season pretty liberally with salt and pepper. This is, a common thing. Most people undersalt. So I'm going to flip these over. We're going to season the other side. We're going to come back. Okay, guys. So next step it's having us do is to do what's called a quick pickle on our sliced shallots there. We're going to use the lemon juice. It says add 2 tablespoons I'm not a big measurer. I'm going to call that 2 tablespoons, and a pinch of salt. And that lemon juice, you know, it's acid. It's going to just kind of penetrate the shallots. I like to get in there, toss them up, because when you slice them, they kind of stay in half moons all connected. You want to break those pieces. You want to make sure it all gets coated. There's a pinch of salt in there if I didn't say it. And we're just going to let that sit. We're actually going to finish the coleslaw. We're going to add the coleslaw, put both in the fridge, keep them nice and cool until we're ready to serve. Here we've got chopped, looks like cabbage, radicchio, and some shredded carrot in there. The red is radicchio. Again, looks nice and fresh. It's good firmness. It's not wilted. It's not limp at all. And it is asking us to go ahead and add kind of the mayo and the sriracha to taste. I think I'm going to start off with 2 packages of mayo. It came with 3 packages of mayo and 2 of sriracha. I'm going to go ahead and add 2 mayos, 1 sriracha, since it's okay. So we're going to try not to eat our, whatever those are, the little wrappers. As always, a little bit of salt in there as well, and let me make sure there's no lime juice or anything in there. Another mixing bowl, slaw mix, mayo, sriracha, and salt. I'm going to add a little bit of pepper as well. Obviously, you hit more mayo or more sriracha in there. It's going to be creamier, it's going to be more dressed, and the sriracha is going to make it spicy or spicier. After you mix it together, you want to make sure you give it a taste. You can always adjust at the end, but why not just grab a little bite now? I think that's good. Just a minuscule amount of heat, which is right for me, but if you wanted to, you could throw in the other package. I think maybe a little bit of lime juice in there would actually taste good as well, but I'm going to leave it off because it's not in the directions. Both the shallots and the coleslaw, I'm just going to slide into the in the fridge while we finish up. All right, time to make our batter for our tilapia. This is just says tempura mix. I'm not entirely sure what's in there. Probably some flour, probably some baking powder or baking soda into a mixing bowl. And it says to gradually add some water and add cold water. So I've just got a little measuring cup here with some ice cubes floating in it. It says to add a couple tablespoons and mix. And it's going to obviously form a pretty thick paste. Once it does that, we're going to add some more water. What we're doing per the directions is getting this batter down to a pretty thin state. Adding a little water at a time will help make sure there's no lumps in there. If you don't have a whisk, go ahead and use a spoon or use a fork, but you just want to make sure you don't have big chunks of batter sitting in there. And at the end, we're looking for, a couple ice cubes fell in, but that's okay. It says we're looking for a consistency of like heavy cream or so, which I think we're pretty close. It says the thinner the batter, the crispier the fish will be. And just one more drop of water in there. And that's it. That's our batter. I think that's the right consistency, particularly since there's a couple tiny ice cubes still in there. Those are going to melt, thin it out a little bit more. Make sure you get the corners. Then we're going to unpackage and warm our tortillas on the stove, and then we're also going to cook our batter and cook our fish. We're almost eating. All right, let's go ahead and cook our fish and warm our tortillas. So actually the directions say go ahead and either heat these up in the microwave, which is a good solution. Just wrap them in a little bit of like a towel and a little moisture on there, and heating them up that way is a good plan. Or if you use a pan, it says you can go ahead and use the same pan. I'm going to use 2 separate pans just because it helps me go a little bit faster. I can do 2 at once. This pan is already hot. This pan is getting hot. This is the frying oil that Home Chef sent me. And I'm going to go ahead and add that to the pan. This is a nice, wide, large pan. You don't want to do it too shallow. The oil will, if it spills, you get a big mess. You could potentially get a flame up. I'm going to watch these. By the way, if you want to do these at separate times, it makes sense. As the tortillas warm up, what you can do is just take them, throw them. I don't know if you can see over here, I got a sheet of foil. Throw them. I also got a spatula that's getting in my way. You can throw them on a sheet of foil and just kind of keep them wrapped up and nice and warm. I do like to cook them. That softens them up, makes them taste a whole lot better. I'm going to keep doing those. We're also going to go ahead and test our oil, see if it's hot enough by just dropping some batter in. That didn't really do anything. You want it to start frying and sizzling a little bit. You'll hear it, you'll see it drip, and that's kind of how we want. So I'm just going to let this oil heat up for another couple minutes, then we're going to come back. Okay, so our oil tested is hot enough now. I'm actually going to lower the heat. This is going to be the one kind of tricky thing, is maintaining the heat in the pan. I'm going to work in batches and add probably 5 or so pieces of tilapia to our mix, get them coated, and then comes the the scary part for a lot of folks. You want to just grab the tilapia by one side and then lay it down and then away from you. And then if there's any splash from that oil, it'll actually splash away from you. And you want to see that sizzling. We're going to wait until the crust gets nice and brown, and then we're going to flip these over. As you get more and more confident, you can work more fish at the same time. You don't really want them touching, or they're going to clump together. I'm just going to add a few more pieces to our pile here. And while those go, I'm also going to grab another I'm going to grab a plate with a sheet of paper towel on it to transfer our fish once it's cooked onto. Alright, so we're zoomed in a little bit. I remember now, this is the first one that I put in, so we're going to try and flip that over. It's not quite brown enough, so I'm going to leave it in for just another minute or so. I'm going to turn the heat up as well. And these shouldn't be sticking really. I got a tiny bit, but honestly, if I just gently pry, they're going to release. This one completely done. Or the reason I have my spatula over here is if you need to come over and just give them a little nudge, they should come up pretty darn easily. If they're not coming up easily at all, just let them cook for another minute or so, then turn them over. This guy I think is done. We're going to turn that over, turn that over. You can play with the shapes. These are all kind of square pieces of fish. If you want to do the kind of longer strips, that actually works pretty darn well and looks nice as well. Second side is not going to cook as long as not going to take as long as the first. These will cook awfully quick. So what we're going to do, I'm going to let these go for like another 20 seconds on this side, maybe 2 minutes, if that, on the first side. Really, you're judging by the color more than anything else. We're going to let these go for about 30 seconds more on the second side, then drain them over to our paper towel here. Okay, our fish is done, and again, you're going to see they get brown on the second side, but not quite as brown. I'm going to move them over to our paper towel. This is where that nice crispy crust is going to be so tasty. And I am going to put them kind of close to each other because once they come out of the oil, if you can manage it, go ahead, grab a pinch of salt, hit them with a pinch of salt, and that salt is going to kind of melt in with the oil. It's really the best time to hit these with just a little bit of finishing salt. I'm going to go ahead and add the next batch of fish. Again, drop and lay it away from you. That guy didn't quite get down there. Drop and away, and any splashes are going to go. The other thing you got to watch, I got some pieces like that one and some pieces like that one that are kind of wildly different thicknesses. They're going to cook slightly different timing. It's not going to matter a huge deal with this recipe because frankly the tempura batter and the fried is going to make them so tasty and juicy. But just know that thinner fish is going to cook faster than thicker. I'm going to keep repeating this batch process until all our fish is done. I'm also, forgot my tortillas, going to lay down our tortillas. These are only going to take like 30 seconds a side or so. So they're not going to go, or they're not going to take very long. Then we're going to come back, we're going to put this thing together. Alright, so we've got our fish cooked, our tilapia cooked and fried off. It actually looks quite nice. I plated 2 of my tacos now, and I've got enough fish the way I cut it to do kind of 3 sizable pieces at least for, yep, that's actually perfect amount. So 9 pieces, gets you 1 serving. We got our tortillas that are warmed up. I laid down our 3 pieces of tilapia, fried. That, you know, the salt amount is right there. It's so important to hit it right after the fry. Our pickled shallots are going to give a nice little bite to it. And our final little garnish, cilantro, a little bit of freshness as well, and a little bit of color on the tacos. These actually look great. I think there's plenty of food here for 2 or 3 people. And that's our plated up version. Let's go ahead and give this guy a taste. Alright, so we've got our Baja Fish Tacos nice and cooked here, laid out with our coleslaw, our tilapia, pickled onions. I'm going to hit mine just a touch more, fresh lime, and we're going to give it a taste. So, it's actually really good. I like this food. That bite from the lemon is perfect, from the shallots as well. Shallots and lemon. Coleslaw adds a nice crunch and texture to it, as does the breading on the tilapia. Yeah, this was easy to do. It probably took me about 35-40 minutes or so. I thought the recipe directions were pretty damn clear. I might like do the tortillas last after the fish, or at least simultaneously rather than before. But you can see I'm ready to take another bite. So thumbs up to Home Chef on this one. I think this is really good. Go ahead, check out the description in the coupon code, or check out the description. I'll throw a coupon code in there and give it a try. Don't forget to subscribe. And I'll see you next time on No Recipe Required. Alright fans, so that was the Baja Fish Tacos from Home Fresh. I gotta say I was a little nervous on this one. Fish mail order. I had low expectations, but I gotta say it was fresh, it was firm, it was the way it should be. The flavors fit together really well. I thought the sriracha addition added just a touch of heat. Really nice touch. Go ahead, check them out. Use the coupon code if you want, but make sure to let me know how it goes. And I'll see you next time on No Recipe Required.